Tobacco. Next is the fourth item in our general cultural history, tobacco. Tobacco is very interesting because you can carry a certain amount of it with you, just like coffee, cocoa, or alcohol if you want to enjoy it. And it needs to be heated, so no one drinks cold coffee. Cold cocoa isn't very nice. Don't forget that in the 16th century and 17th century, there was no tablet chocolate until 1820. They need to carry something with them, and it would be nice if the presentation was also appealing. Tobacco. Tobacco is very nice. Please don't think of what I say as cigarettes. Cigarettes came later. I mean, adding a filter and putting in more poison and stuff came afterward. What you know is that they roll shredded tobacco into cigarettes and smoke it leisurely. Moreover, it is a favorite product even while walking, even while running, and especially during World War I. You could use tobacco even in the trenches during the war, but you couldn't make yourself a hot coffee. Moreover, while coffee can overly awaken you and make you feel energetic, it also makes you jittery and anxious. But nicotine was not like that. Nicotine, an incredibly potent poison in toxicology, calmed through tobacco, temporarily suppressing the nervous system. So, you thought smoking would help you relax? Tobacco was considered a medicine at the end of the 16th century, throughout the 17th century, and into the early 18th century. Forget about it causing cancer. Tobacco was even applied to babies. During that time, there were long pipes and such. Because they don't want smoke to be excessive for the face and eyes. The smell is also unpleasant. It's like a barbecue. There are those long pipes as well, and the pipe takes a certain amount of time to prepare. They spend 15 to 30 minutes preparing it, doing something. There are rituals, there are pipe sets, and the shapes of the pipes are quite stylish. They are like the meerschaum pipes we have. Using tobacco creates a certain atmosphere. It depends on how high quality the tobacco you are using is and how fine the pipe you are smoking with is. Among the general public, it tends to be of slightly lower quality. The upper classes of this society smoking pipes will eventually turn into a conflict with ordinary cigarettes, but that has not happened yet. I will explain shortly. Flyers are being printed in the 17th century by quack doctors. Tobacco should be sold more. And it is said that it is good for pneumonia, dries up mucus, relieves the upper respiratory tract, and that your mind becomes clearer the more you smoke tobacco, and so on. They are promoting tobacco to the public as it is very valuable to sell. Its consumed form in the 17th and 18th centuries was pipes, which are long contraptions. At the very beginning of the 19th century, it transitioned to a new form, so that they can accelerate even more. After the second half of the 19th century, tobacco transitioned into the form of cigarettes we know today. Keep in mind that the whole purpose is society, and capitalism comes into play here. What is the aim of capitalism? To sell more and faster. Acceleration. Here is the acceleration. You will prepare the tobacco in 30 minutes and consume a certain amount of it. Don't mess around with this pipe. Let's quickly make these into pros and get them in our mouth. They should do it right away and consume it immediately. That wasn't enough either. Those pros take a long time, because there were some who would leave the pro half finished, cut it, and then continue. Let's make them into thin cigars. Let's sell less product in larger quantities and faster. Let's sell them in packs of 20 or 30. Therefore, they are doing everything they can to promote the consumption of tobacco. In the 1980s and 70s, Hollywood was paying actors and actresses a lot of money to consume tobacco, both in Turkey and during the black and white cinema era in Hollywood. Smoking was seen as a symbol of elegance. Tobacco is very profitable. Right at this, pro. During the pipe transition, forget the pipe, the pros are emerging. The speaker says that those who smoke tobacco are seen as serious, refined individuals, and they start to make such remarks about them. On the other hand, those who smoke pro are described as more energetic and fitting for business people. Those who defend it say that knowledgeable people, intelligent people, consume it inside. Since that time, there has always been something, a pro, in intellectual cartoons and among intellectual types. That's where the logic starts. If a cigarette is smoked in 5 minutes, it's 6 times more according to a cigar, and 27 times more according to a pipe. I don't remember the exact figures. It was more profitable, let's say 30. Because people were consuming cigarettes very quickly and using less tobacco. Moreover, you could add a lot of additional substances that would cause addiction into the cigarette. People were preparing their tobacco by shredding it themselves. Cigarettes are nicer. You can add whatever you want in the factory, making them more addictive. Until the end of World War II, cigarette cases existed, and a cigarette case defined your identity, much like today's mobile phones. Which mobile phone did you take out and put on the table? But cigarette cases are disappearing during World War II. There is something I won't elaborate on much in the perception management video since I mentioned it earlier. In the second half of the 19th century, Sigmund Freud's nephew, Edward Bernays, takes a step forward. Torch to freedom. Women should smoke in the streets. Women should smoke everywhere. An initiative is being launched so that women can smoke openly 24 hours a day instead of secretly at home. So-called feminists, like George Sand and Lola Montez, are also fueling the use of cigarettes. They are being bribed for whatever is being done. Women say, I know how to smoke. Women consume tobacco as much as men do. This also doubles tobacco sales. There is something you need to know: snuff. 95% of the tobacco usage. Before the French Revolution was snuff. What is snuff? You would finely shred the tobacco and mix it with some spices before inhaling it. This burned the nose and there were instructions. Here, sniff it, blow your nose, do this, do that. Snuffing was a luxury, a privilege. It was thought to open the mind and brain. Because when you mixed tobacco with spices and inhaled it, the capillaries in your nose would directly carry it to your brain. So, let it go down into the lungs and come out from there. Therefore, know what the snuff culture is. But that snuff culture disappeared with the advent of cigarettes. Taking snuff like this was not a cool process. Now, it's time for the next video about beer.